Hello classmates, my name is Marley and I'm going to be telling you about Chapter 10 of Tortilla Flat. So to start out with a brief summary of the chapter, we see Jesus Maria Corcoran. He finds a young man who's holding a baby in his arms. This young man is being sort of harassed by a police officer, so Jesus Maria steps in. He later takes him and introduces him to his friends, where they learn that the baby is ill. His friends learn that this young man's wife was kidnapped by a captain, then shortly after the baby passes away, and he explains that he wished for him to become a general. So with that brief summary in mind, let's go over some passions that we can see in it. Starting with Jesus Maria, we see love, joy, and gratitude. This is evident in the line, "Nor hard nor haunted Jesus Maria existed." So it's almost like saying all the time he had these passions. All the time he was full of love, joy, and gratitude. So much so that negative ones hardly even existed. Another one that we see with him is lust. It says on page 174, Jesus Maria liked to look at girls' legs. It describes him just sort of sitting around and watching because he just loved to look at it. I would say for management of these passions, maybe looking inward at his joy, at what's causing it and what he can learn from it. He might find that he has a very good life, he has a lot to be thankful for, so his passion of love and joy and gratitude is telling him that he's in the right place. As far as managing lust, perhaps having empathy for these girls would be sufficient. Not that he is apathetic, but if he were to put himself in their position, it might help him to sort of take control of it if he needed to. The book compares it to an onlooker of art at an art gallery, just appreciating the art. I can't help but think that this is sort of a false equivalence, because these girls are not art, they are people. So, if he wanted to manage it, I would say think of them as such. Next we have a rather trivial character, but the policeman. In this we see primarily anger. He is sort of making fun of this young man, saying, oh, he's just sat around all day, he hasn't done any work, and that sort of thing, calling him lazy and all this. He goes so far to use a racial slur when referring to him. So, I think that anger is one that should be managed, of course. So I would say that maybe he should ask himself, what is my anger trying to tell me? Is my anger about myself, or is it about others? And I think he might find that it's really more about himself. For the next character, our new young man, we see probably the broadest range of passions in this chapter from him. So we start out with gratitude and comfort when he receives Jesus Maria's help after he sort of gets the police officer off of his case and introduces him to his friends. We also see some anger and vengeance when he's describing the abduction of his wife, rightfully so, you'd probably be very angry. We also see some sadness and grief, but it is mentioned very briefly as he loses his child. So although we don't have very much writing about this, I imagine he probably was quite sad. And as far as management goes, I would say reminding himself that all feelings are temporary, and this character really shows that very well since we get so many of these passions in such a short time. So we can learn that all of these passions are here for a short time, they will come and go, and they can be thought of as signs of where to go next. One religious theme you might have picked up on if you read this is the sort of eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, Old Testament sort of idea. We get this when young man is talking about the abduction of his wife. He tells us that a captain with a small sash and a silver sword has taken his wife from him. So he mentions that he wants his child to have things greater than he did. So he says, I wish that my child would become a general. He says, quote, imagine what a general with a big sash and a gold sword could take. Now I do understand this sort of revenge idea, this equal and opposite reaction. Maybe he wants some justice and he wants his child to have a good life. But I do find it a bit interesting, this mention of taking something. although I think he might have just wanted his child to have an abundant life, and maybe he could do so if he were to become a general. So lastly, to reflect, I'll leave you all with some questions about what we've discussed here. So, first one, happiness and joy are often perceived differently than sadness or anger, yet they all still happen. Are all passions created equal, or are some worse or better than others? Next, some religions teach an eye for an eye. In your opinion, is this ethical, or should we strive for other practices such as forgiveness? And lastly, how do you interpret the statement, imagine what a general could take? Is it corporal or young man's way of wanting what's best for his child? Or is it wanting his child to be more powerful than those who had harmed him? Thank you.